Welcome, my peeps, my peoples. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the video. It'd be greatly appreciated from the bottom of my heart, my peeps, my peoples. Peep Squad is in the building, baby. We're going to the top. We're going to bring others with us. So please become a part of Notification Squad. Peep Squad, hit that notification bell. Know each and every time I drop a video, be the first one to comment. Tell me what's on your mind and how you feel. So let's get into it. Shaunie O'Neal is interviewing with none other than Mark Lamont Hill. So we already know what this is going to be about, right?
Or at least from the reunion taping.
Yeah.
When you hear OG saying, I feel isolated, or I feel like I'm being mistreated because I'm darker.
I hate that she feels that way. I do. I feel horrible.
And it sparked a bigger conversation about colorism, whether dark-skinned people get treated differently than light-skinned people, whether there's privilege attached to being one hue versus another hue. That's something that sometimes we don't talk about as a community.
Right. I'm glad it has come up because it is a painful subject. Dark-skinned women definitely get it way harder in society in general. I totally understand it. I get it. But
in this business.
And in this business that we're in, especially. But I believe here at BasketballWives, we work so hard for that not to be an issue with our franchise. To work so hard to not be a part of that and then get accused of it.
It's tough.
It's real tough. You know, I'm sorry that this was her experience because this is not.
If that's the case, if you're sorry that this is her experience, you would think that Shaunie O'Neal would do more to make sure that OG is okay, to make sure that everything on set is proper. There's no double standards and there's no favoritism, even though Evelyn Lozada's been her friend for 15 years. And then on top of that, she would address the situation because OG has been talking about colorism for a couple of months now on the show, and people have been bringing up colorism in OG's comments and all over the internet, basically thinking that she's being mistreated because of her color, and there's double standards, and they're calling her, you know, aggressive, a liability. But yet there's other people on the show like Evelyn Lozada that's actually throwing tables and bottles this season, and there's nothing been done about it. And you have Malaysia jumping across tables trying to fight, you know, Jackie and her family being involved in a whole hoorah of that situation. And then at the reunion, when OG brought up colorism, she said the biggest issue is colorism. Shaunie O'Neal said, oh, here she go again. She's doing way too much. Basically, you don't care. You didn't care. And you're not sorry that OG is having that type of experience and she's feeling isolated and she's feeling like, you know, she's being treated bad because of her colorism, because of her skin color, and you guys have colorism issues towards her because you wanted to put her on a separate stage like she's some out of control person. It's like, Shaunie, you didn't take the time as a producer, as a mother of the show, because you know you started Basketball Wives to even sit down with OG and try to get to know her. You even said it on the show that you just never really sat down to talk to, never really got a chance to know her, but you never had one-on-one time with OG to try to get to know her, to try to figure out what's the problem, what's the situation. If you think she's a liability, if you think she's angry, how come you haven't sit down and talked to her? How come you didn't find out what was going on or anything like that? Like, you didn't do your due diligence to find out how OG was feeling. She's part of the cast, she's part of your brand, and she's making you money too as well, and she's also keeping this show alive with her being real, and people love her being real, and they love her being authentic and actually sticking up for herself. And it seems like, Sean, if you really cared, you would have did something about it. And if you didn't want Basketball Wives to have that name of being colorist, and you should have did something about it. You should have talked to the people on the stage. You should have talked to Evelyn Lozada. You should have talked to your people. You should have let them know what's good, because you look bad too as well, and you look like you allow it and you agree with it, and you have colorist issues too as well, because you're ignoring it like it's not a big deal. Not all of a sudden you know what colorism is. It's so difficult for dark-skinned women. It's so difficult for dark-skinned women in TV. So you should have made sure that if this was the issue and it was brought up to you months ago, because it's been on the internet from fans months ago talking about these issues, and you never addressed it. You took the time to go online and IG Live with Shaquille O'Neal to basically have him co-sign that you're not colorist because he's dark skinned and you got dark skinned children, but that doesn't mean that you can't be colorist. Okay, so instead of doing that, you probably should have went live IG with none other than OG and asked OG, what was the issue? What's the problem? You know, what makes you feel like we're colorists? How have we made you feel like we isolated you? What can we do to make it better so this doesn't happen again? You didn't even try that type of you didn't even try. You didn't even care. So now you care because people are looking to find out who your sponsors are and basically want to get the show canceled. And it's about 4 petitions against Basketball Wives. You should have did better. You could have done better. You could have really made this a real topic where you could have actually had action. Actions speak louder than words, and your actions are not speaking louder than your words. Basically, you're just claiming there's no colorism on the show. You understand what colorism is, but when you're being accused of it and we can see it on your show, you're not addressing it. Only thing you're trying to address is that you don't have colorist issues and Basketball Wives ain't colorist. And so therefore you're not addressing the issue or the problem. You're trying to brush it under the rug by just accusing OG of being aggressive and a liability. And now Evelyn is out here doing interviews after interviews talking about OG is this and OG is that. We having people, producers or people slip, bloggers information saying that OG is difficult with production and all types of stuff. It's like every time you turn around, Shaunie, you're bad mouthing OG. And you're not sorry for the problems that she had, because if you felt you would have changed the situation immediately, you would have invited her to dinner. You would have made sure that she was on the main stage so she wouldn't feel isolated. But you didn't care because no one has ever held your feet to the fire. And now that your bags might be touched, now you want to come out and say, oh, I know it's difficult for other women, but it's not happening here. And that's not right. That's not right at all. And the people got OG back. I'm like, she is doing way too much. I mean, they're really out here trying to destroy OG reputation, trying to make it look like she's lying. She's not telling the truth. She just wants attention. She got problems when that's not the case. When we can see that OG is very articulated. She can control herself too as well, because she controls herself around you, Shaunie O'Neal. She controls herself around Malaysia and also Evelyn Lozada. When you guys attack her verbally and aggressively, and she didn't do anything. She didn't attack none of y'all. She didn't try to fight none of y'all. She only went after none other than Febreze, because Febreze was making fun of her skin tone and making fun of her heritage and calling her a gorilla, or saying that she's like Godzilla. And so basically OG was trying to address that situation with Febreze, and you jumped in, Shaunie O'Neal, and you put your face, you put the back of your head, you put your shoulders, you put your hips, you put your thighs in the way, trying to bump OG out the way so she wouldn't get to none other than Febreze to ask her what you said. Please say it to my face. And security was right there between you, Shaunie, and OG. And you said that OG pushed you violently. Yes, you got pushed, but you didn't fall to the ground. You didn't hit the floor. Security was right there. There was 2 bodies in front of you, and then the wall, and the body sitting down on the floor. So how was you almost violently pushed into the wall? These are all stories that you guys are making up, just like you made up the story that Tammy Roman wanted a separate stage, and that wasn't even the case, to try to get OG to sit on a separate stage. And Mark Lamont Hill, is the one that told OG that. So are you guys in all cahoots to lie and make it seem like OG is telling a story? Like, come on, like, this is way too much. And Mark Lamont Hill, he's supposed to be an activist for civil rights, and basically all that went out the window when he got onto the Basketball Wife Union, and Evelyn Lozada flirted with him, and his money was going to be affected. He started butt licking and boot kissing and tap dancing. And so I mean, they're messed up. They're really trying to blackball OG like there's not an issue, and that's so wrong and low down and dirty. And you know what? If OG is fired from the show, that is going to be your nail in the coffin. People have already put the nail in the coffin for Basketball Wife and Shaunie O'Neal and Evelyn Lozada. But if she's fired from the show for no reason at all, because she's calling you guys out for what you guys have put her through, and if you fire her, that is the worst thing that you can ever do, because it solidifies, even though it's already solidified, but it solidifies it with a sealed, signed, delivered sticker marked with special delivery, colorism and racism. Peace. I'm out. One love to all my peeps and my peoples.